Welcome back to the Under the Bad Moon podcast. I'm your host, Rob, here with Austin. Last time we talked about list building and kind of if you're new to Age of Sigmar, where do you even start? We kind of let off after kind of the generic process of how you would build a list with, using your battle tome. What are the minimum requirements and using the new battalions, the core battalions available to you. Today, I'd like to kind of go a little bit more in detail about like build your list with the points and reinforcement points. And then once we get done with that, I kind of thinking maybe we just do like a Q&A here with Austin and see what kind of questions we have.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right. So like I said, last time we started off with minimum requirements for building your army, which was you have to have at least one leader, you have to have three three battle line units. This is a 2,000 point game. And then after you have that minimum requirements, there's some maxes that you could take. So you can't have more than 4 monsters. You can't have 4 of the more artillery pieces. And then after that, you're basically allowed to just take whatever you want.
Yeah.
So there was a change here in 3.0 versus 2.0. And that has to do with what they call reinforcement points. Now, this is kind of a little difficult to understand and grasp at first, but I think once you get it, you'll be like, okay, I see. Basically, depending on what point size game you're playing, you're given a certain amount of points for reinforcements. So in a 1,000 point game, I believe you're given 2 reinforcement points. In a 1,500, you're given 3 reinforcement points. In a 2,000 point, you're given 4 reinforcement points. And what you can do with these reinforcement points is spend them to upgrade a unit from its minimum unit size and increase it by whatever that minimum unit size. So if you have a unit of 10, you can spend 1 reinforcement point and then spend the points to purchase the 10 extra guys and increase it from 10 to 20. You could do that once for every unit in your army, as long as it's not a single type. And battle lines, you can increase up to 2 times. So if you have, let's say, 10 skeletons, I can spend 2 reinforcement points and, the 85 points to increase it once, and then another 85 points again to increase it a third time. And I would have 30 skeletons. So anything that's battle line, you can spend up to 2 reinforcement points and the points to increase the size.
So this is only battle line, though, you said?
Up to 3 times, yes.
Okay.
So everything you can increase at least once, unless specified that it's a single unit. So when you look at single units, it'll say in the war scroll section or the points section whether or not it's a single unit.
Okay. All right. I will have questions on that later, probably,
Sure.
with some of the units that I'd like to be larger. So I may have to check out that picture again. So
yeah, and I don't have any good examples off the top of my head. I was trying to think of some that would be single.
Okay. I mean, one of the things I'm wondering is like for the new Kruleboyz, the Bolt Boys, the crossbowmen. I wonder if they're single. So those would be the man. Yeah, those would be the man. What is it? Man skewered Bolt Boys, and they come in a unit of 3. So hopefully they're not, because I'd love to reinforce them for the list I'm looking at later. We can
like you see that kill boss with Stabgrot in the point list here. If you see the notes, it says single.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
That means you can't. Usually, all leaders have this single keyword.
Okay.
And it just means that you can't increase it.
Okay. Oh, cool. Yeah. So here, I'm looking at the list now. So Manskewer Bolt Boys, unit of 3 for 120. They do not have a specification for single, but they also don't say battle line. But I guess that doesn't matter.
Well, so one of the things that we don't know yet is usually there's going to be heroes in armies that create battle line for things. So like if you have X character as your general, then X unit becomes battle line. Now, I don't think these guys will ever be battle line because that's not pretty common, but there might be something in the Kruleboyz book that makes other units in your faction battle line.
Okay, cool. Interesting. So that's reinforcement. So hypothetically, I could spend a reinforcement point on them, it looks like.
Yeah, it looks like it. So you could increase the unit size from 3 to 6. Now,
wow.
It's important when everybody gets their general's handbooks and stuff and starts looking through the points. A lot of units changed what their unit size was. Like there used to be a lot of units that were maybe 20 minimum, because it used to have 20 min. It was like 20 to 60, right?
Okay. Yep.
So there used to be this thing, and then sometimes you had units where, like, if you took all three of it, like if you took all 60 guys, you'd get a discount on the points. All that's gone. So now we are strictly just every unit has a unit size, and then you can spend reinforcement points. There is no, I mean, there is a max, but that's basically dictated by the reinforcement points.
Okay, and you're getting, and this is all stuff that's in the general's handbook. The like you said, like the minimum requirements for an army, the maximum, like the 4 artillery, those things are called out in the general's handbook, as along with how many reinforcement points or whatever you're getting.
Yeah,
I guess.
that's going to be
Cool.
included with all the, like, how to build a list stuff in
All
the
right.
match play.
Cool.
And again, not just general's handbook, but this is also going to be in the match play section of your core rule book.
Right. Match play. Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Makes sense. What's next?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know. I mean, unless we want to, do a deep dive into enhancements or
Well,
start
some of that
talking
will come
about.
up maybe as we pick out units, because what I was
Mhm.
trying to assemble a list here, getting into it. So I might have some more questions with that
Sure.
stuff.
Well, so yeah,
Yeah.
let's then go. So we've kind of discussed everything about making a list. So let's go ahead and actually, like, look at a list and what it's
Okay,
going to be
cool.
made up of.
So here's what we'll do. I have a few things that I really want to use, and you basically tell me if it's legal or not, and then
Sure.
we'll figure out how to like assign it into what did we call these? The battalions, right, from the core rule book, because we don't know. Well, it looks like they're not valid anyway, so we don't have any specific battalions for Kruleboyz. But even if we did, right, that stuff is kind of uh, gone away in this
Are you
edition.
talking about War Scroll battalions? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
they don't exist anymore.
So this might actually be simpler than I thought. Okay, cool. So the first thing I want to look at is so the mounted war boss killer.
Hmm.
So okay, so the killer boss on the Great Gnash Tooth. So he does have the keywords for hero, right? So he can be my leader.
Right.
So that fills that requirement, right? And so far we're working towards any of these battalions because they all require, except for the Grand Battery. I don't have any of that stuff. Okay, cool. So it looks like I'm working towards the Warlord Battalion or the Battle Regiment, probably. So then I wanted to take two of the Shaman. So I want to do some stuff with them, but I think I want two of them at a minimum. Um, so that's definitely something I wanted to look at. So we can maybe go through their abilities and enhancements later. But I think they're going to be really good. I really like the built-in swamp mist rule that they have for making the whole table -1 to charge, and then I think they even improved my charging by 1.
They do. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're really cool. And I kind of want 3 of them, but we're getting out of hand now. But like the fact that you can, instead of cast, use their ability to give a poison potion to somebody, I think
Hmm.
that's really cool too. Because and I want to try to, now I don't know the right terminology for this, but I want to try to be like faction pure so I can keep that mortal wounds on 6s. So at any point that we're breaking that, let me know, because that's a big consideration. Like I don't know if there's anything else that's going to be more beneficial, but I know we can play like out of the mixed orc or clan book or whatever, the big wah or whatever it was called. Anyway, so I want to probably have at least 2 of the shamans, and then since we just talked through this, I'd love to take a unit of 6 crossbow guys. So I think
Hmm.
that's really cool because I'd love to give them the poison enhancement from the shaman, because now we're talking about mortal wounds on 5s, and each of those is weapons is 2 damage if they're standing still. So 5s is 2 mortal wounds instead of just one, like 1.
Well, they do. I believe they do. They always do 2 damage. It's just that they get 2 shots if they move at 4s for the
Oh,
rapid
you're
fire.
right. It is. Yeah. So they're always 2 damage, right? But then the range is half and it's double the shots and it's
Yeah.
worse to hit and all that stuff. So actually, yeah. So this could end up being even better than that. But anyway, so my idea was to stick one of the shaman with the unit of 6.
Hmm.
So it cost me a reinforcement point. And one of the shaman's not going to be casting spells because he's going to be doing the poison thing.
So
Now,
I believe if I'm correct, you can only use the poison on each unit once.
yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So I believe it said, I have it here. I think it said, I don't remember if it was on their list. Let's see. It says In your hero phase, if this unit's more than 3 inches from enemies, blah, 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 you can brew instead. Pick a friendly unit within 12 outside of combat. And a unit that's been given a poison or elixir cannot be given another poison elixir in the same hero phase.
Oh,
So same hero phase. Interesting.
so you can
So
keep
I do it
giving it
every
to them.
turn. So that
So
seems cool.
it's one of those things that it would have been amazing to see this guy get this ability in addition to his spell casting.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, it's basically like a spell cast within itself without having to roll for it, and there's no way to really stop it. I really like this guy. I like the idea of bringing 2 of them so that you can be giving out poisons and still casting the boggy mist thing.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think 3 is over the top because you're still going to have arcane shields and stuff that you want to get out.
Yeah.
But there's an option for that because we can give one of them an arcane tome so he can cast 2 spells. So he can cast his boggy mist and an arcane shield. But
Okay, so
we can
that
talk
was
about
yeah.
that.
No, that's good because that's where I had a couple questions. So like I
Mm-hmm.
was thinking about maybe giving this guy okay, so we talked about we get one of each of these enhancements. Now, I don't know like so we have the universal spell lore
Mm-hmm.
enhancement. Now, that's what does it do here? I can pick from a list, but I might get a different list eventually if we get like a book, right?
Yeah,
So
I
we
would
might
assume that in the book you're going to have relics that you can take for sure.
yeah, but I can still only cast one, right? I would need to also give him the artifact of power to cast another one.
Correct.
Okay. So it's very possible that the second shaman here takes up both of my like
Mm-hmm.
free enhancements.
You could also give that. I mean, you could technically give that to your kill boss too. The only reason I say that is
Oh.
because you might be in a turn where you want to potion 2 units.
Oh, that's interesting. I
So
didn't even think about using the poisons and elixirs twice.
yeah, because I don't think there's
Oh.
anything stopping it from 2 wizards doing it. It's just you can't because like you might want to put it on like your close combat unit and send them in, and then put the other poison on your shooty unit.
Okay.
Um,
That's
so
interesting.
so if you took the arcane tome on your wizard, that means you couldn't cast at all, right? So it'd be kind of wasting it. So you might want to
Oh.
consider using that arcane tome maybe on something else, or we can talk about this later, but maybe just allying in like a fungoid cave shaman or something dirt cheap just to like throw in there and cast some spells and potentially generate you a CP as well on top of that because fungoid cave shamans are really good allies for destruction in general.
Okay. I really kind of like this idea of so let me read this here. So arcane tome. So yeah. So if the bearer is already a wizard, blah blah. So yeah. So if we're not a wizard, they can attempt to cast one spell in your hero phase to unbind one spell. Okay, but he wouldn't. Um.
He
Oh, I see. He accesses Mystic Shield then, so you get that with the
Mystic Shield
tome.
or Arcane Bolt, yeah, he can cast both of
Oh
those.
wow,
So the
that's
reason
very
is
cool.
because you kind of always want to be casting Mystic Shield on at least something every turn.
Yeah,
So uh, even on himself, he could just be like, "I'm just going to cast it on myself and
sure.
go." So
Oof.
something to think about. Something to think
Yeah.
about.
Okay, so that's really cool. So I think let's just start by doing that. I really like that because we're gonna get a little tight on points here in a minute because I want to include some other stuff. So let's just say we have the 2 shaman.
2 shamans and the kill boss, and right now we have 2 of the shooty boys,
Yeah,
man skewers.
yeah.
Okay,
So that's let's see. So it's like
so technically at this point you do have a core battalion for the um, whatever the main one, the war leader or whatever.
warlord battalion, which
Warlord
means I
battalion. There we
get.
go. War leader.
So let's see. That means I get magnificent, right? I get.
Mhm.
So I can take one extra enhancement, okay, and I get strategist.
So
Can
once
receive an
once per
extra.
game, you can use get an extra command point in your hero phase.
Nice. Okay, cool. So
Yep.
that's awesome. So that already fills my warlord battalion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. So what else we got?
Yeah. All right. So the core guys, right? I need foot troops or whatever. I need battle line. So I believe I need up to what 3 or
Yeah, at 2,000 points, you'll need 3.
yeah. So I don't know if the Hobgrots are gonna be considered battle line or not. That's the tricky
Yeah.
part.
So in the Auric war clans, they are currently not battle line,
I
but that
see.
does not mean that they won't be battle line in a Kruleboyz book because the Auric war clans has a little more limitations on what is battle line and what is not.
Right. Okay. And battle line is
For
something that
example, something kind of interesting to look at here. Am I reading this correctly? Auric Brutes, battle line if an Iron Jaw or Big Wa. Okay. Interesting.
So this might be something that hurts me in the long, because I might not be able to do what I want now.
Well, here's the thing. We don't know right now.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and assume that they're not for now.
Yeah.
And move forward.
Okay. Well, so the only battle line thing I have access then is the Gut Rippas.
Right.
So
and I guarantee that will not be the case when the actual book comes out, because we don't even know what this faction is going to have. You're basically trying to make a list based off of what's in this battle box, I'm assuming. Like,
yeah,
we're not even taking into account the stuff that they've already previewed, like the dude riding the giant cave troll, or the guy with the big tree trunk ballista. What else did they preview there? Was it just those two? Was there something else?
It was the big ballista and the troll guy, which are so cool.
Yeah. So there might even be more to this.
We're
yeah. Go ahead.
See. So so that's like 540 points for just 3 basic ones. So one of the things I originally wanted to do was run a larger squad of Hobgrots to like run out, and like I was thinking about reinforcing them to have 20 of them running up, advancing and firing in front of like my war leader guy.
I would think you still could. I mean, these guys aren't that expensive. So what kind of points are we looking at? You got 3 units of 10 Gut Rippas.
Yep.
Because you need that for your core, and then you got 1 unit of 20 Hobgot Slittas.
Yep, and those are 95 apiece. So and that uses So let's see.
My math is
plus all my plus all my 2 shaman and the reinforced crossbow squad puts me at 1,300 points.
1,300 points. Okay.
So
so you have 700 left.
I want to run Kragnos.
Right. That's the right move, I think.
So I have like 100 questions, but let's ease into this, okay? So the first thing is, looking at his data sheets, he has Destruction Monster, Hero, and Kragnos as his keywords. Right. He's not, but I know that he has an ability to not break your, like I don't want to lose my mortals on 6s, right? But I don't think I will.
You won't. Yeah, you can just include him.
Now, if I look back at the core battalions,
so just as a note, so like there are a few models in this game that exceed the like alliance or allies point limit, but have special exceptions. 2 of them, the only 2 that I'm aware of currently are Kragnos and Gotrek. So you can run both those characters in the associated armies as that, and it doesn't break your rules. So yeah, you can take Kragnos in this army for sure.
Oh man. Okay, cool. So that puts us 5 points under, by the way. So we're just about at 2,000. So, okay. So now I'm looking at the core battalions and I'm trying to figure out where he fits, if at all, or if I can make something else.
So he's a leader. So he can just, he can take up the commander slot in any of them if he wants to, or he could just be a hero slot because, no, he can't be a hero slot. He has to take commander. So you could put him in the, if you want to make a bunch of your stuff a 1-drop, you could take that one. I think.
Okay, interesting. Right. So so the battle regiment is, well, no, that can fit. So that can fit 1 commander,
right? Which would
and
be
then
Kragnos.
2 sub commanders, which are the shaman.
Those are troops. We're looking at battle regiment, right?
Yeah.
So we already filled out your warlord. That was your kill boss.
Yeah.
2 shaman. And your javelin guys. Your man killers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So we already took that. So now we look at the battle regiment, and you have Kragnos filling out the commander slot. You have your 3 Kruleboyz.
Oh yeah.
Squads, and then the 4th squad there will be your hobgoblins. And then you're done.
Sweet. So I can take both.
Yeah, you can take both of these.
Oh man. So that's cool. So yeah, the benefit is what? 1-drop deployment. So yeah. That's awesome. Okay. Is there any other way I could manipulate this to get any of the other pieces? I don't think so. I could maybe take a command entourage, right? If I take... No, because then I don't have enough sub-leaders. Our sub commanders. Yeah, I guess that's. I mean, but that's two of the best ones, right? The warlord is like the best, debatably.
Yeah, I would probably just leave it with the warlord and battle regiment. You'll probably be fine there. You don't. I
Yeah.
mean, you really can't take anything else. I'm interested to see taking 3 of those guys, like the ballista guys with the
Uh
tree
huh.
trunk shooters, and something for that grand battery might be worthwhile, like in the future.
Yeah, I hope that they're.
Because being able to unleash hell for free means that you can unleash hell with 2 guys.
That's so cool.
You know, so like
Yeah.
you could basically just because unleash hell, it's you might have read that and been like, okay, it's Overwatch, right? But it's not.
Yeah.
Like you can shoot a unit that charges your other unit in front of you as long as it's within 9 inches of you. So it's
Oh
not.
my
It's more like
gosh.
Tau Overwatch, where you
It's
can
so
shoot
good.
Overwatch for units around you.
And it's only at a -1, right? It's not a like.
Yeah, it's only -1. I mean
And the
that's a pretty
yeah.
big deal, but it's not. It's not the end of the world, especially for your man skewer guys because they
Oh,
hit on
dude.
2s when they stand still. So just
Mm-hmm.
hitting on 3s is not the end of the world. Um,
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So my next question with Craig, should we go over his data slate at all? Do people?
yeah, sure, let's do it.
Should we? Okay.
You want
I
to?
do have it here if you want me to read through it. At least most of it. So he's a 2-up save. He's 18 wounds and 10 bravery. It looks like he's got a ton of attacks, but his mace is 3-inch range, which I still have yet to feel how this feels on the table. But that seems insane.
It's
A
really
3-inch
good.
range seems really
It's
crazy.
really good. There's a lot you can do with that. Um, because like anything that you're technically in combat or is in combat with you is 3 inches, and that's
Yeah,
it's a pretty big berth, especially with the new pile-in abilities. So like when you pile in, you just have to be close to the unit. You could
yeah.
probably actually swing around quite a bit and then just go dunk on something that you're not actually in combat with. I
Oh
mean,
my
I say
god.
not in combat with, but like
Yeah.
my gargants, my mega gargants have 3 inch
Okay.
range on a lot of stuff, and I've charged people's like spearman line and then just
hmm
started punching the bowmen that are standing behind them.
Yes, dude, that's exactly what I was hoping to
Yeah,
do. That's so
yeah.
cool. So I really like that. He's got 6 attacks, 4 damage apiece. So that's just, I think, 3+ to hit, 2+ to wound. Now I can always make him a 2+ to hit, right? Because I can use the generic stratagem for all out attack
Hmm.
to give him plus
Yep.
1 to hit. So I
Yeah, you
could
can.
make him 2s, which is pretty cool. So a -3 Ren, which seems insane in this game. Anything above -2 Ren in this game seems
It's really good.
ungodly powerful.
It is really good, especially
That's
with all the ways that you can buff saves now. Like -3 means that they really have to invest in that character if they
yeah.
don't want any kind of negative modifier.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. And then of course he's got a secondary 1-inch, 3 attacks, D3 damage. Same thing. Minor -2 rend. The Tusk Breaker. I guess it's his shield. And then his
Yeah,
like
it is a shield. I love
yeah,
it.
that's
Shield
kind of
bashes people.
amazing. 3 attacks with it instead of 1, right? And then of course his hooves of rack and ruin, which is just insane. So those are again 3+ to hit, 2+ to wound, only -1 rend, but 2 damage, which I think is for my 40k days, I'd rather have 2 damage than D3. But maybe in this game, it's a little different because everything bleeds over, right? So maybe the D3 is nicer. I don't know.
Mm,
Anyway,
I mean, it's good. It's not. You'd still rather have 2 because the
yeah.
odds are kind of in your favor there, but because of the bleed through, or I like to call it cleave. Yeah, it's really good. It's really
So
good.
and just so I'm reading this correctly, in AoS, the wounds table you count up, right? So
Yes.
like, okay, so he starts with a 10-inch move,
Hmm.
6 attacks on those hooves, and then he's got 5+ for his bellow of rage, which we'll get into, and everything decreases, but his bellows of rage goes up, which I think is cool. So like once he's stuck in and he starts bleeding out and dying,
He
he's
gets madder.
hurting. Yeah, he's hurting just stuff more reliably. This
Yeah.
guy is so cool. This is like the most like Timmy model I've seen. This is like so cool. This is how
I
I want
don't
to play.
understand. What is a Timmy model?
I think it's an MTG term. I'm pretty sure where
Oh,
people
okay.
say like you want to win with your big model and like you want to see your big model in combat or your big combo play out. It doesn't matter what else happens.
Sure,
So
sure,
I'm
sure.
all about this guy right now.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I think he's really cool. But I looked at him before and I think he was more points. He's I think just
He
about
was.
700 points, right?
Yeah, he's 695. I think he was 760 before. So he went
Yeah.
he went down a considerable amount, which is strange because they kind of came out back to back. But he also has something on the charge, doesn't he?
Yeah. So this is crazy, right? So this guy's nuts. Okay. So basically, once you make that charge, you roll 2d6, I believe. Let me see here. After this model makes a charge, you can either roll a dice for each enemy unit within one, or you can pick one enemy monster. Okay, and you roll 2d6. If you roll a dice for each enemy unit within one inch of this model, on a 2+, that unit summons d6 mortal wounds. So he could do, 2d6 mortal wounds, I guess.
Yep. Or plus, he's a monster too, so you get another
Jesus.
D3 mortal wounds also. With your
Yeah, right, exactly.
monster
Then there's a
slump.
whole nother thing about if you pick a monster, roll 2d6 on a 7, nothing happens. On any other roll, that monster suffers a number of mortal wounds equal to the score of the dice. Okay, so that's kind of wacky, but I guess they want to rule out 50-50. I wonder why they didn't just say over a certain number. Pretty sure like a 7, what do you have, 50-50 chance of rolling a 7 on 2 dice? I don't know, there's some craps logic in there somewhere. I don't know why they worded it like that. That's actually kind of interesting though.
It's weird, but don't let me pull up the war scroll because I think you like multiply it together.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. It says
It's like the sum of the two
yes.
dice.
It says yeah, I misread that. I'm still trying to get a grasp on these data sheets. Well, anything that's not a 7, okay? The monster suffers the number of mortal wounds equal to the dice multiplied together. So if you roll a 3 and a 4, nothing happens. If you roll a 2 and a 5, they take 10 damage.
Yeah,
So okay.
it's
Wow.
crazy.
So this guy's bizarre, man, but oof.
He's cool. I mean, he's also got this Drackline Destroyer thing, which is, I don't know. We'll see if that plays a part. There's not a ton of dragons in the game, quote unquote.
Okay.
Um, yeah, he's really cool. I love his shield. Like, you can't really cast spells against him for the most part. He's pretty much
Yeah.
gonna just deny anything you try to hurt him with. Um, his big weakness is just mortal wounds, like mortal wounds on the charge, mortal wounds at proc, stuff like that. That's the stuff that's going to kill Kragnos. You have ways of making his armor save basically a 2+ at all times.
So that's because I can cast the all out defense, or I'm sorry, use the all out defense
You could
stratagem.
arcane shield him. You could all out
Okay, you're right.
defense stratagem, and you can
Okay.
finest hour him as
Oh,
well.
that's right. That's a once
Right.
per game
He
ability,
also
right?
can heal D3 every hero phase now because his bravery is 10. Technically,
Right.
is it
Yeah.
11? Is 10 the most that you can get? Well, he's got this icon
I
of
mean,
destruction. Add one of bravery characteristics of friendly destruction units wholly within 12 of this model. So
yeah,
I'm assuming he would get it
he's
himself.
11.
So
I
is he
guess.
11?
Yeah.
So he basically almost never fails unless you boxcars.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
So he can heal
So
D3. And then I, one of the things that I want to point out is there's some allies that you can take here.
okay.
Some more chantas and stuff that you can kind of throw in from some of the other orc armies where it wouldn't kill your ability to um,
The
to use
poison
your
thing.
Kruleboyz stuff. Yeah, uh,
Okay.
because like a war chanta was pretty cheap. Not a war chanta. I'm sorry. I don't know what they're called. The shamans from
The primitive orcs,
the
right?
primitive orcs. Right,
Yeah.
right. So they have a lot of different things. They actually have a +1 armor save chant, but I think that's bone splitters only. In fact, most of their chants are bone splitters only. But the new bless is a 6+ ward save. So it's
Okay.
not great, but it's something to maybe think about because now you have at least some way to try to protect you from some mortal wounds that are coming through. Plus, on top of that, any damage that slips through your 2+ armor save. So that's
Okay.
something to think about. I don't know if it's worth it because it is a 4+ to try to dance and prayer it off, but
Hmm.
it's something to think about. You can consider it, and I'd be curious to see with priest being kind of such a big change in this expansion
Yeah.
that if I would not be surprised to see Kruleboyz having their own priest in their whole faction. I would be shocked if they didn't
Yeah.
give them a priest because again they kind of made it a big deal. There's a lot of big changes to how priests function and work, and now priests can try to unpriest each other. I'd be surprised if they don't have some sort of priest.
Yeah, and that's the thing I had to just skip because so actually there was something you touched on there. So when you ally the units in, they don't get their own books benefits, but they don't
Mm-hmm.
break yours as long as you're under that
As long
threshold
as
of
you're under that
points.
400 points, correct? Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's
So
pretty
that's
streamlined.
interesting.
Again, and we don't know exactly who these guys can ally with. I'm making some assumptions that they'll probably be able to ally with Grotz, Gloomspike
Mm-hmm.
Gits. They'll probably be able to ally with Bone Splitters. I'm pretty sure. I can't see a world where they don't, to be honest.
Yeah.
So you might be able to pick and
Okay.
choose a couple juicy options from some of those things.
That's cool. And maybe that replaces something like the reinforced crossbowmen or the hobgrots or something like that
Yeah, maybe. I
in the
mean, we'll see
future.
what happens. I mean, maybe the Hopgrots become battle line or something. Or
Yeah, that would be
who
cool.
knows, man? Once that book drops, there might be units that are like super cool that you want to throw in there. But I do
Yeah.
think Kragnos is an easy point of entry for
Yeah.
sure because he's almost half your army. He's pretty straightforward to use.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing you need to be aware of is keeping him safe. And as a bonus, I would like to point out there's a spell in the core rulebook that you can take since you technically don't have any like army book spells yet that you can pick.
Mm-hmm.
There's one that makes a unit fly, so you can make Kragnos fly. So now you can hide him behind
What?
your little
The hobgrots.
hobgrot screen unit, and then fly him over and charge stuff.
Oh my god. Okay.
So
Yeah,
that's an
levitate.
option.
There it is.
That's an option
Uh,
for you.
ooh, a casting value of 8 and a range of 18 inches. Oof.
Yeah, it's tough to get off.
Ooh.
So at that point, if that's something you're trying to do, you might want to consider there's a commander trait. If you make one of your shamans a general, where he can
Okay.
re-roll his cast rolls.
Oh, interesting.
Yep. So if you fail
Yeah,
it, you can try
okay.
to re-roll.
So
And
no,
honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see in your book. Wizards usually have the option to like get a +1 to their casting or something
mm,
too. So
I see.
stuff's kind
So
of common.
now I need to figure out in this case what would be taking like my command trait. So let's say hypothetically I give the
Mhm.
arcane tome to my mounted boss, and then he'll like scurry up with I don't know like the hobgrots or something, and
Mhm.
then I have Kragnos and the shaman and the shield guys going up.
Yeah, so you're kind of in a bad spot right now with that because you don't have your book.
Yeah.
So we have to kind of rely on the universal command traits for this kind of stuff.
Okay.
I don't think you care about re-rolling your run and charge rolls.
Probably
Skilled leader is
not.
kind of a waste.
Uh,
Re-roll chanting rolls for this general. He's not a priest, so you don't care. Add one to the general's wounds, don't care. Master of Magic, once per hero phase, you can re-roll one casting roll or dispelling or unbinding for this general. That one's not terrible, especially if you're going to end up getting him the Arcane Tome.
well, that's true because he's going to be up there, right? I mean, if he's going to be up fighting things, he'll probably be around
He gets a reroll to
enemy
dispel,
wizards.
and if he fails to cast on a 5+ to get his arcane shield up, you
Yeah,
can just reroll it. So that's not
that's kind of cool.
terrible. Um, Given this list of
Yeah.
options, I would say that's your best option. Or making one
Okay.
of your wizards a general and giving him the wizard one of these, because everything else, I'll be honest, is kind of garbage. I
Now
wouldn't
hold
really
on a
worry
sec.
about it.
So, um, can I give Kragnos an artifact of power?
No, because he's a
Okay,
special character. So
I see.
any
So
like
named
named,
stuff.
if it's unique, if it's a unique character, then you can't give it any kind of upgrades. It is what it is. It's very similar. Like you couldn't give
Gotcha.
Reboot Gilliman an upgrade.
Okay. So even though so I will be getting an extra. What is it called? It says I'm going back here, magnificent. So I can pick one extra enhancement. Okay, so I'd have the arcane tome. Let's just say arcane tome and master of magic on my
Hmm.
melee war boss, which I think is awesome. I actually really like that. And then universal spell lore. I technically get one right for free. Because you get one of everything. Is that what it was for free? But I'd
Well,
probably
so
want to.
yeah, so you get another one, another artifact basically, or universal spell lore. Honestly, this is tough because the Amulet of Destiny wouldn't be terrible on your kill boss.
Okay.
That's kind of, I don't want to say it's an auto include, but every army you build, you're going to be looking at this Amulet of
Oh yeah.
Destiny to who this can go on because giving anybody a ward save on a 5+ is just going to be good.
Yeah, that's probably better than the Mystic Shield on himself anyway.
Potentially, yeah, +1 armor
Maybe.
save. Well, I don't know, man, because he
Yeah, I don't know.
could basically have a 2+ armor save. Is a 2+ armor save better than a 3+ with a 5+?
I have no idea.
It's a tough call. Um, if that's the case, then you'd probably just give your arcane tome to one of your other wizards, and at that
Yeah.
point, you'd make your wizard the general and give him master of magic personally.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
So that's kind of neat. Let me look at the Oh, okay. Yeah, so the Oh no, I can't cast if I'm using the potions. Hmm. Yeah, I was gonna say because then if I
So
can, because
here's a question for you,
all right,
and I don't know the answer to this.
all right,
So it says here that if you give the bear this arcane tome, the bear becomes a wizard and knows arcane bolt and mystic spells.
mm-hmm.
But later it talks about if you one of the enhancements, right, is where's it at? Spell lore, right? Each time you take spell lore enhancement, you can pick one spell for each wizard in your army. Any of the spell lores available to that wizard can pick from different spells from different spell lores for different wizards. Each wizard knows a spell that you pick for in addition to the other spell lores they know. Okay. Can you give the arcane tome to your kill boss,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it makes him a wizard. And then does he generate an additional spell from your spell lore?
Oh, I see. So maybe,
Because if he does,
huh.
how cool is it to give him flaming weapon to add one to his damage of his sword? So
Oh
now
man,
he's damage 3.
oh man, I like that.
Is that a thing you can do? Here's the thing, I don't know,
I don't
because
know.
in the past it was pretty clear cut that like magical items that allowed you to cast spells didn't make you a wizard, but this makes you a wizard. It's keyworded, bolded, and everything.
Yeah, it is
So
very
if
explicit.
you get to if you get to take the spell lore spells too, that arcane tome becomes really powerful. And just taking this flaming weapon on him and casting flaming sword for +1 damage makes
Oh
this
yeah,
guy
he's got
immediately
four.
better.
Dude, he's got 4 attacks with his. Well, I mean, his weapon isn't amazing. I
It's
mean, I get this.
threes and threes minus
It's
two
minus
damage.
1, 2
Oh, is it?
damage. The
Okay.
mountain's better than him. The hell.
I wonder if you can make his mount a flaming sword.
Flaming
No,
mouth.
probably not. Pick one of the caster's melee weapons. I would assume that the mount is not a melee weapon of the caster,
Okay, I guess.
but that'd be fun.
That's interesting actually. Like, well, now I do have one of the hit rolls for attack that when he charges, so he is hitting on 2s, wounding on 3s, -1
Yeah,
wound,
and
2
you could always
damage. But
finest hour
eh.
too to get +1 to wound.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, plus oh yeah, that's true. And he's got 3 up save. So yeah, this guy's interesting. I haven't decided like I don't know what it feels like to play out the game, yet
Mhm.
on against different stuff. But like if I am using Kragnos, it's like my idea was to try to use the crossbowman guys with the mortal elixirs or the mortal poisons to try to maybe clear something he's going to go after, and
Right.
then like the
Well,
boss.
think about this. If he's damage 3, what happens when you poison his sword? Because
Oh
any
man,
5s or 6s he rolls are 3 mortal wounds immediately,
oh man,
right?
that's really
I mean,
good.
it's just an option.
Yeah.
I'm not
Oh dude.
saying.
Oh my
But like
god. Look at the.
this is one of those things though. This is why I like this game, right? Because this is one of those things that you could set up for that turn that you're like, I'm going to take out your general this turn, and I'm going to send my general in to do it, and I'm just going to buff him up. And he's
Oh
going
my
to be
god.
finest hour. He's going to be hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s, any 5s to hit. It's going to do 3 mortal wounds because of his flaming sword. Like this is why
This
I
is
like this
nuts,
game.
dude.
And then you just let him go in.
Ugh.
I think it's cool. I think it's cool. Now, I don't know if you can do all that, right? I think Arcane Tome's going to need an FAQ to see whether or
Okay.
not you get spell lore, because I'm assuming that their intention is that since it's just a relic, it's not going to give you all these other spells. It's just going
Yeah.
to give you these two. But maybe not. Maybe
Hmm.
you do get spell lores. I mean, that's a big deal because now, like, if you buy an extra enhancement spell lore, does he know 2 more spells? You know,
Oh yeah. Shit.
like, how does that all play
Ugh.
out? I don't know.
I like this battle mage idea. Like I love the idea of him charging in and having more than just what you see on his war scroll.
Yeah,
He's got like these extra tricks. He's very cunning, right? Isn't
he
that
would
his
be very
thing?
cunning.
Oh, I'm totally doing this.
I don't know. I don't know if you can do it,
Yeah.
but like, I think it's a cool idea. I like the concept. I mean, I've already kind of been playing around with like trying to buff up vampires to do kind of this fun stuff, but
Yeah.
um, I
Hmm.
don't know. We'll see.
Now, is there a way to advance and charge that I could like give him? Is that like a?
Mm, not
Are there
unless
ways
he's
to do
got
that?
Not unless he's got something that does it for him. No, there's
Okay.
no generic way to
There's
do
no
it.
generic strat for that. Okay.
Again, who knows what you're going to get in your battle tome, though. You might have some sort of sub faction that allows all of them to do that.
Oh,
You don't know. We don't
man,
know
I hope
until
we
we
get
know.
that book.
We will.
Okay.
I'm sure it'll be soon. I'm
Um,
sure it'll be announced probably day of release.
yeah. Okay, so a couple weeks yet to wait. Now, I had another question here. So there's a new monster table, and Kragnos is a monster.
He
Can he
is.
do this stuff?
He can do all of it. Yeah.
Oh
He can do
my,
all that. He can do heroic actions and monster actions.
dude, this stuff is nuts. I mean, we might have skipped over it, but we just talked about his damage. I mean, imagine on top of that, pick an enemy unit within 3, which I could also be swinging at with my club. If
Mm-hmm.
it's not a monster, roll a dice on a 2+ to take D3 mortals. So just on top of that. So like now I can swing at a caster, stomp it for D3 mortals, and it's 3 inches away from the thing I just slammed into. That's nuts. Or I love the terrain. I don't know how big like terrain and defensible stuff plays yet, but you can
It
stack the
depends.
smash to rubble and the bellowing voice or whatever it's called, bellow of rage. I mean, this is just crazy. If a defensible terrain features being garrisoned when it's demolished, things basically could die on a 1. But otherwise, um, within 6 inches, if the roll is equal to or greater than the rage table, D3 mortal wounds. Man, I don't know. I like this guy. He's probably not like super. I don't know. Maybe he is super competitive. I don't know. These big units are always like this. But I don't think there's a lot of shooting in AoS that
There
really.
is. There is.
Okay.
In fact, and that's the scary part for this guy though,
Yeah.
because a lot of the shooting in AOS, at least the popular shooting in AOS, also comes with mortal wound procs.
Interesting.
So there's a lot of
Okay.
stuff out there that like they're going to shoot 20 shots at him, and on 5s they're going to do mortals. There's a lot of that
Yeah.
stuff.
Interesting.
So you
Hmm.
gotta like Lumineth Realm Lords are the example that I'm speaking about,
Okay.
but there's also ones in Cities of Sigmar that can do the same thing on 6s, I think it is. Um,
But
and
he's
those are
2 up.
and Daughters of Cain. They're
Okay.
snake ladies. They do mortal wounds on 6s to hit. So
Okay.
there is a lot. Here's the thing: you're looking at that, and you're like, man, 2+ armor save. That's really good. But
Yeah.
there is a lot of mortal wounds out in this game, like a lot more than 40k, and it's
Hmm.
kind of sprinkled around everywhere. And that's why
Interesting.
they can make these 2-up rerollable armor save units because
Yeah.
they can be dealt with fairly easily. Like your Kragnos is really good, but if I charge you with a bunch of Boingrot Bounders, I'm going to be doing a ton of mortal wounds to you as I come in, right?
Okay.
And
Interesting.
that's going to be a big deal.
Yeah. Hmm.
So while Kragnos is very good and he's a beat stick and he's probably going to kill everything he touches, you can't just throw him into the mix somewhere and expect him to survive. You're
Hmm.
gonna have to play him a little smart. You're gonna have to probably do some things. I would not be surprised. This is supposed to be the cunning faction of orcs, right? So I would not be
Yeah.
surprised to see them have some ways to like reserve units and bring them on.
That would be
So
awesome. I thought about that.
reserving Kragnos until all those pesky little archers are kind of already mixed up with your Stabba boys or Gut Rippa boys or
Oh
whatever,
yeah,
and
dude.
then walking Kragnos on the field might be a play.
So they
So
can't shoot out of combat, right? That's the whole
no,
thing.
they can shoot
Like,
at the unit they're in combat with, but they
okay.
can't shoot out. Correct. So, yeah,
Oh.
there's going to be things.
So, so this might be a bad thing. So I was looking at the shaman again for the summon boggy mist, and it's on a 7, so 50-50. Increase add one of the charge rolls for friendly Kruleboyz, so he won't get a +1 to charge, but it also says subtract 1 from charge rolls for other units, so he'd actually get a -1 charge. Kragnos, because it doesn't say friendly. It just says and subtract 1 from charge rolls for other units on the battlefield. So that's kind of a nombo there.
Mm, potentially.
Yeah, that could suck. So yeah,
So
I might have to wait to see if they get better spells. Because
what?
maybe I don't take a second shaman. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have that war scroll pulled up. What's the original wording?
It says. I'll get it here real quick. It says here. I'll send it to you as well. But it says, summon boggy mist, casting value of 7. successfully cast your unit until your next hero phase. Add one of the charge rolls for friendly Kruleboyz Auric units.
Yeah.
Yeah, and subtract
Yep.
1.
Yep. Yep.
So the other thing about taking Kragnos is I was thinking, okay, well, you can't really advance
What's
in
funny is,
charge.
I think this is probably going to hurt your
Hobgobs
hobgoblins
too,
too.
yeah. So I might not even want to take the Boggy Mist. Now,
Well, you might
I don't know.
just not cast it unless you like it. It's really beneficial. I mean, it's situational.
Yeah, because he can always do, like, he'll be running up with stuff anyway that he could always cast Mystic Shield on, I suppose.
Or
Now,
he could
if
just
I,
be giving potions to things.
yeah, that's true, because I can always give a potion rather than give him poisons. Yeah, so I like the idea of the swamp calls with the shield guys, because the shield guys are actually pretty good, I think. For now, maybe
Um,
they're not good, but like at
they
18
are the
points,
definition of average, in my opinion.
okay, because they got 2 wounds, right? So it's like 9 points a wound, and they have the ability to give things around them -1 to hit. You know, you can, if you give them a +1 save, they seem pretty decent for
Because are
what you
they
get.
they're a 5 up,
They're
4
a
up.
5 up, but you get a 4 up. What is it? They get a 4 up. No, I don't think they get a 4 up from the shield. They're a 5 up, but let me see here. Yeah, they have a 5+ save, but they give things basically -1 to hit.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe with the leadership stuff. Now, a lot of it's like 50-50, I guess.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that's leadership 10 though, or bravery
Okay,
10.
fair enough.
Because I don't remember. It's is it just roll 2d6 and if you're higher than their bravery, they fear you?
Yeah, yeah.
Or
But you
is
add
it more
1 for
complicated?
every 5 models, so I'll be +2 basically.
Oh, so if you're like 20 Kruleboyz, you're +4.
Yeah, if you're 20, but
But you'll
most
probably
of the
be
time squads of,
+3.
squads of 10. They
Oh,
come in.
right. I know. I'm saying like
Yeah.
if you do run bigger squads, this
Mm.
plays a bigger part. So -2. So even if it's 10, is it equal to or higher, or is it just higher?
It's equal to or greater. Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, so that's a benefit in your favor. So, I
So
mean,
you'll probably,
maybe
yeah.
it's an interesting rule that hopefully you don't forget. Honestly,
Yeah.
I don't understand why they're just not a -1 to hit. They probably should be. Their bravery
Yeah.
5 is their biggest weakness.
Yeah.
That's
That
rough,
does suck.
especially on a 2 wound model.
Yeah,
That
these
gets
aren't good,
real
are
rough.
they? I don't know what I'm thinking. These guys aren't good. No, I think they're
They're
actually really
not,
bad now. No, they're
but
not good. Ugh.
doing mortal wounds on a 5+ is really good.
Yeah. True. True.
So
Oh,
if
wait a
you
second. There's a way to mitigate bravery, right? Is it a warlord trick, or is it a shoot? Could I give it to the shaman that rolls with them? What was it? I thought there was some sort of trait. Maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking of a generic strat.
there is a generic strat that you can use, but you can only use it on 1 unit. So
Yeah.
I mean, in some cases that'll be fine. Your kill boss makes only 1 guy ever run, which is really good.
That's what I might have been thinking
Yeah.
of. If
So
they're near
it's
him.
good to have him around, or maybe potentially other kill bosses. In fairness, Kragnos gives you a +1 to your bravery, so 6s
Well, that's true.
if he's around.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
their bravery is bad.
Yeah.
So I think here's what I think. I think we don't have the full picture on these guys yet.
Yeah.
I think that these guys have very vanilla stats. They're pointed well though. 10 of them for 180, I think, is a good point cost.
Mm-hmm.
You can still all out attack them. So hitting on 3s, winning on 4s. I mean, that's basically what my skeletons do,
Mm-hmm.
and they're okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you're technically about the same amount of points as my skeletons. Like I need 20 skeletons because they're 1 wound apiece. You have 180.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is bravery hurts you more because every guy that runs is 2 wounds, which is rough.
Yeah. Now, what about the range of 2 inches? If we have to keep
That is
coherency,
amazing because
yeah, I
they're
was gonna
probably going to
say,
be on 32s, which means that if you have 10 of them and you're basically 5x5,
yeah,
that's a big deal. And
which
that's
you
why I
have to
think these
be.
guys, yeah, and they have 2 attacks, right? Apiece.
Yeah, they have 2 attacks. Yeah.
So this is why I think these guys are good, is because I think you have to be giving them the poison, so they're 5+ mortal wound, and now you're attacking with 20 attacks pretty much all the time. Like you're never not going to have everybody stabbing,
Yeah.
and doing mortal wounds on 20 attacks is like what 4, 8, 12, or I'm sorry, 2, 4, 6, 8.
Yeah,
Eight,
because
eight,
they have no
eight mortal
rend.
wounds.
So yeah.
8 mortal wounds. 8 mortal wounds is probably more than most units would do on their own, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I think it's good, and it's hard to kind of break that down. Like if we were to, yep. So we compare these to Auric Ardboys, for example. So they're
Mm-hmm.
190 points for 10, and it's going to cost you a reinforcement point, where these your other guys don't. Your Gut Rippers don't. It's about 10 points more for the Ardboy, and
Mm.
they do have better stats. So they're a 4+ save versus the 5+ save. They have a 6 bravery instead of the 5 bravery. I believe they both move 4 inches. I don't have the War Scroll. Do you have the War Scroll? Four
These
inches
guys
move.
move 5. Yeah,
Okay, so that's
they're
actually
better.
important. These guys hit on threes, wound on threes, -1 rend for 1 damage.
Yeah, 4 is no rend here.
Right. And then these guys, X amount of models can carry shields that ignore wounds on 6s.
Okay.
Um,
What's their
and then
range?
they only have range 1. So you're probably only looking at 5 of them in a squad of 10 actually hitting.
Ah,
Maybe the way you shuffle and kind of put it, you might be able to get some more in there. It's a little more difficult. Um, but even hitting on threes and wounding on threes with a -1/1, the chances of doing 8 wounds still pretty small unless you're using a
yeah.
war chanta to double their damage. So I think that the 5+ mortals on those gut rippas is extremely overlooked. Um,
Hmm.
while these guys aren't great, uh, I I like them. I like them. They do need support, but we're just talking
Yeah.
8 mortal wounds. We're not even talking about the rest of their damage because I believe the poison's in addition to as well. I could be wrong. Maybe it's not.
Ooh.
It's
I
probably
kind of
ends it.
think it's just instead, but
Instead, it
regardless.
probably is. So on top of that, though, there's going to be subfactions for these guys, and those subfactions
Okay.
are going to do something probably to benefit these guys more.
Like,
So
what do you think? Like, what kind of stuff do you get for sub factions? Are you talking
I
about
mean,
like
there's all kinds of stuff.
okay, so like they
So
could
like,
be +1 to hit or advance in charge or something weird?
who knows?
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
I would assume that there's going to probably be a subfaction that allows you to like for X amount of units in your list, you can probably put in the reserves because they're supposed to be
Mm.
sneaky, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's stuff like just Iron Jaws, for example. Iron Jaws, you can take the Iron Suns. They're like a -1 to hit in the first round. Like the
Cool.
whole
Okay. I
army wide
see.
-1 to hit.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of things that could happen. It's basically like I'm trying to relate this to 40k. So think of your custodes, right? Like for each subfaction custodes, there's vastly different abilities they get when they select that subfaction, right?
Okay.
It's the same
Yeah.
thing. So
All
you'll
right.
probably get something. I don't know what that something's going to be, but who knows?
Ooh, maybe they'll all get a 6 up award.
Maybe
That's a thing. 40K. Okay.
it's
Cool. So I was thinking about the distance thing here, and like,
mhm,
so an inch is a little over 25 millimeters. So I
mhm.
don't know like how strict people are in AoS, but like me just looking at this, if things are on 32s and you have to keep 1 inch coherency, like you can't fit, like running the math problem on this here, that triangle of space, you can't fit 2 ranks into combat. No.
So some could argue that if because of the nature of a circle base, you might be able to like zigzag them in such a way
Oh,
that you
space out the
can
front too.
get in 1 inch of your opponent. But your opponent also
Hmm.
kind of has to be perfectly zigzagged as well in order for like the circle bases to kind of line up like that properly to be able to hit right. And
Okay.
that never happens.
Right.
So for the most part, if your dudes are kind of standing behind the other dudes, you're probably not within an inch.
Gotcha. Unless you're like
So
filling some small gap or something with an
most of the
enemy.
games I play, people usually end up to play like this, where it's if you're a small base, which is what 25 millimeter,
25s. Yep.
everybody just assumes that you can attack in 2 ranks. It's no
Okay.
question
Cool.
about it. If
Cool.
you're playing with 32s, it's pretty much only the people in base contact that can attack.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay. Yeah. No, that makes
unless you
sense.
got
That's where I
yeah,
landed. So.
yep. And again, it's kind of iffy. I mean, you might find yourself in a situation where like maybe some guys on the edge are able to kind of space out a little bit more and kind of get in
Hmm.
there, and maybe there's going to be like 2 or 3 extra guys that might be able to get within that 1 inch because of the way the units lined up. That's possible,
Okay.
but it's not. I wouldn't say it's the rule. You know what I mean?
Okay, no, that's cool. It's
So
yeah, that's
so
cool.
these 10 guys plus like they have a fairly small footprint on the battle map, right?
Yeah.
Which is a good thing. Um, and in addition to that, if you do end up increasing one of these units to 20, 40 attacks,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, fives to mortal, you'll pretty much kill anything on the board, honestly.
Especially if they get the +1 to attack uh,
You
stratagem,
probably
right?
don't even need that. Just
I wonder.
just on
Yeah.
average, doing 16 mortal wounds to something,
Yeah.
probably going to kill it. Like I'm thinking,
And
like
it'll
if you're
kill
fighting,
Kragnos.
yeah, it'd probably kill Kragnos. It'd probably
Damn
kill
it.
a zombie dragon.
Yeah.
It'd kill a lot of stuff
Okay.
if
So
you get that charge
yeah,
off.
that's
So
really interesting.
I don't think these guys are bad. And again, I think a lot of
Yeah.
people are really overlooking it. And okay, so preference this with the fact that I also am a destruction player at heart. So I'm
Uh-huh.
very used to having bravery 4, bravery 5, bravery 6. Like
Yeah.
that's just part of playing destruction and you get used to it. So when I see this, I personally think one big unit of gut rippers of 20 that you
Yeah.
can kind of babysit with a character that's going to make sure they don't run is probably better than having a bunch of gut ripper units that you're just going
Okay.
to get
Right.
bravaried off the field. So like
Huh.
me personally, I would maybe take one unit 20 and then like two units of 10 just to fill the mandatory. Or in your
Yeah.
case, because you want to get Kragnos in there, 3 units of 10 is also fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you
But
you
I could drop the
basically
hobgoblins and upgrade one or something.
you'll
Like
probably
there's.
want to babyset. You can probably babyset two of those units with your kill boss,
Mm-hmm.
guaranteeing only one run, and then babyset the other with a wizard. And you're gonna know when to use your command ability to make them ignore it. And
Yeah.
you should probably always bank on the fact that you need at least one command ability sitting around at all times to
For
keep them
that.
from running.
Okay, that's interesting to budget
So
that.
my 2 cents
Hmm.
on how to handle bravery.
You know what I like? I like the idea of. Man, I really hope we can get some sort of trick to outflank or deep strike these guys.
I would be surprised if they
They're
don't,
supposed to
because
come from the swamp. Damn
yeah,
it.
these are supposed to be the cunning. They're the cunning orcs. So I guarantee that they're going to have some shady deployment
Yeah,
stuff going on.
because if there's, I mean, there's eight. If I have the small swampy mist or whatever in boggy mist going,
The
like maybe this.
boggy mist.
Yeah,
Love
if
it.
maybe this is not a Kragnos, and look, I don't know if he belongs in the end. I just thought he
I
was
mean,
cool.
here's the thing. Kragnos is cool. Plus, he's a easy way to get to 2,000 points,
That's what I was thinking.
and
Box plus, yeah,
he'll always be fun
yeah,
because he's a god. So
yeah,
like, why not?
mm,
And you know what?
yeah,
He's never going to go out of style. Like you can always there's never going to be a point in the game where you can't just throw him in a list on some Sunday or Saturday or whatever and go have fun
yeah.
because he's
That's true.
always going to be fun.
Yeah,
The
interesting.
big problem is I don't know how much you're going to want to take him to like a tournament scene where you're going to be fighting like redeploying KO or
Mm,
a bunch of
right.
Lumineth Realm Lords or any like
CV5.
Zinch.
Yeah.
Well, no, Zinch actually I
Well,
think he'd
he's
probably
got
fare
good.
pretty well because he'd ignore a lot of their spell damage.
Yeah,
So really, you
dude.
just have to watch out for the flamers.
Yeah, I
So
really
yeah,
think his spell ignore is good.
yeah, he's
Like
good. He's
it's what is it? It's
I think he's
and
a difficult model to point, honestly,
yeah,
because his damage output is so incredible that there's going to be people who just don't know how to deal with him, and he's going to be the
yeah,
most broken, overpowered thing in the world. And then you're going to go up against an opponent who knows how to like build his list in order to deal with threats like this, and he's going to get dunked on so fast that he's worthless.
yeah.
So, like, how do you point something that is both completely broken and unstoppable and worthless at the same
Right.
time, depending on your opponent,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. In regards to the mortals thing, I looked at the ability again, and it is 3d6 or whatever if the roll's greater than
Yeah,
the casting value. But it says on the sheet, designer note, that use the casting value
of the
on the
spell.
spell,
So, like, if
not
someone's
what
like,
was rolled.
right, so if someone's like, I'm going to arcane bolt you, you could just be like, oh, I got to roll a 5+ on 3d6,
Yeah,
no
dude.
problem.
Because at 40K, you got to beat what they roll for
Right?
like
Nope.
for this type of
No.
stuff. Comparably, like
Yeah.
that's brutal, man.
This is
So
really
that's
good.
neat.
This is really good, and I'm pretty
And
sure this works on endless spells too. Pretty
it
sure.
says, yeah, whenever he's affected by a spell or endless spell.
Yeah.
So that's a
Um,
thing.
I like it. It means that you don't have to keep track of what you originally cast a spell on, so it
Yeah.
just makes it easy.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do think Kragnos slots in really good here. I do think Gut Rip is a good for battle line. Are they the best battle line in the game? No.
Yeah.
But there's some tricksy stuff you can do with them, I think, and make them worth their points.
Yeah. I mean, just the crossbowman standing in the back getting poisoned.
Sure.
That seems pretty cool to me.
That's
And
good
I
too.
forgot all
Yeah.
about the reinforcement stuff. Like I kind of learned that today. So a unit of 6 is a lot nicer than 3 in my opinion.
Yeah,
I mean,
especially when you're doing something like spending an ability on them.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, so that's cool. That's
because
just some neat
and,
stuff.
and here's the thing too, like I wanted to kind of get into maybe what allies could do for your army because
Sure.
there's spells that other orcs have access to that allow you to teleport around the board.
Oh.
So in theory, because these guys are kind of short range at 12 inches, or they want to stand still at 24.
Yeah, it's 24.
Now most of that stuff you're probably going to be in the range of, but man, you could probably hand of Gork these guys, teleport them around the board so that so you basically drop them in 9 inches away from something. But before you do that, you put the poison on them, then you teleport them over, and
Oh
then when they
shit.
shoot, they shoot on 4s. So you just go ahead and pop all out attack. So you hit on
Oh
3s. So
man,
now
that
you're
works for
3s and
ranged.
yeah. So you're like what 3s and 3s.
Yeah.
It's really good. It could be
Minus
really
1.
good. And then they're probably
Oh.
going to countercharge you, and then you unleash hell.
Oh my
And
god.
they're still poisoned, right? Because the poison lasts to your next hero
It
phase, or is
says
it
till the
just
next no, it says till the next hero phase, to the start of your next hero phase.
yeah? So you're still
So
poisoned, so you're good to go
what?
there.
That works?
Does it make all their
Um
attacks poison too? Does it work on their bows and their melee?
let's see. It says choose poison or elixir. Okay, so choose poison. Um a unit that has been given a poison elixir cannot be given another, and the unit until your next hero phase when you use the venom encrusted weapons allegiance ability for that unit.
Oh, so yeah, shooting and combat then
Yeah, and
probably.
that ability just says any attack that's made except for a mount.
So these guys could be pretty fun,
Ooh,
honestly. Um,
actually, yeah.
so I would have to look in, and there might be people yelling, "Oh, Rob, you're dumb. You can't use Hand of Gork because it's not an Iron Jaws unit." So we'd have to dig
Yeah, I
into
don't
that and
know.
make sure that that stuff
Yeah.
is legal. Or maybe Hand of Gork is probably their allegiance ability spell, so they probably can't take it.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know, maybe not. But honestly, I'm gonna be honest. That every single destruction's army has a way to teleport. They have a spell to do it. I would probably be
Huh.
shocked if they don't have their own spell to teleport. So
That's cool because I could start these guys 24 inches away from where people might want to come at me. Like
mhm.
if I don't get first turn or whatever, and somebody decides like, oh, we're gonna all out charge you turn 1, and I have some stuff screening and then Cragness or whatever. These guys could be 24 inches approximately away from that zone, and then if I get a way to teleport them, like I can always like if I go first, just teleport them or something.
Yeah, potentially.
That could be
Again,
cool. Interesting.
I'm really excited to find out what these guys actually get. But you
Dude,
know,
and then the trolls. Oh, I can't wait to see what the trolls are. It's probably too early to build a list, but it's been fun. It's
it
been really fun
yeah,
looking into it.
it's more of an exercise just to kind of see
Yeah.
what you have options for. But I think we're
Hmm.
going to wrap it up here. Unless
Yeah,
you have
for
any other
sure.
questions.
Very cool. No, dude, I'm good. I learned a lot today. This is exciting stuff.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for listening. If you're still around, leave a comment, like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and check us out next week.
All right.